Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Adam Dorsey, a psychologist in Silicon Valley, and I am the host of Super Psyched, a podcast dedicated to supercharging your life. Each episode contains fun, high-quality interviews with experts looking at psychology from all angles. Super Psyched is your tool to get more of what you want in your life and less of what you don't. I love it when I meet someone who positively changes my view of the world. One of those people is the guest on this episode, Blake Leeper. Blake was born without legs, and he would go on to play sports of all kinds, baseball, basketball, and he would ultimately become one of the world's fastest runners. How fast? So fast that several of Blake's 400-meter runs have been among the fastest ever recorded. Blake has experienced adversity of all types, including those far beyond the physical, and he consistently responds to adversity with wisdom, determination, clarity, and positivity. Blake shines brilliantly as a role model of how a person can respond to life's challenges. So listen in as Blake explains what he means when he says, "My adversity is my advantage." Blake Leeper, welcome to Super Psyched.
It is a pleasure. It is an honor. I am excited to dive in with you today to share my story. And I just want to say thank you for your platform and everything
Blake,
that you do. I appreciate it.
Seriously, I mean, when I found out that you and I were at the same TEDx conference, I went bananas. I was so excited because I'd heard of you and I've always wanted to meet you. Call me a fanboy. But let's just start off with your childhood and what it was like to grow up without legs.
Yeah, born August 31st in 1989 in East Tennessee. I was born with a congenital birth defect, fibular hemorrhagia. So the day that I was born, the doctors came in and had the conversation with my mother and father and said, "Look, your son is born missing both of his legs. While he's in ICU, we need to sit down and have this conversation." We're near the NICU saying, "Look, he's not going to walk. He won't be able to play sports. He's going to be bound in a wheelchair. You guys might want to find something that's not only easier for him, but for you, because this is going to be a long road and journey ahead, having a baby boy being born missing both of his legs." When I asked my parents this question, I'm like, "Well, what'd you do? Pops, who'd you hit? Who'd you cuss out? I know you didn't think that." But, my mom being a nurse herself and being very connected in the healthcare community, she understood that this was the factual diagnosis that the doctors had to give them and her. But she also understood that they didn't have to accept it. And that's one thing they did not do was accept that diagnosis. And they made the decision right then and there, said, "Look, yes, Blake is born different. Yes, he's going to face some challenges. But you know what? Let's go into this situation head first, give it all we got. One, let's stick together as a family, as a unit. And two, let's keep a positive attitude towards the whole situation." And the power of positivity and that decision, not really me. For people that say, "Well, what'd you do?" Or "How do you do it? How did you become the fastest man in the world?" Honestly, if you got to go back, way, way back, when I was just coming out the womb in the NICU and my parents were getting that news and they made the decision, said, "Look, this is not the end of Blake's story. This is just the beginning." And I've even talked to other parents. I even have a buddy who was born on the same day as me. We share the same birthdays. And his parents, I bumped into his dad not too long ago. But it's actually the first time I heard the story. And he said, "Blake, the day that you was born, the word got around the hospital that there was a boy missing both of his legs. We was all happy. We had our son. And we heard about you down the hallway that you was born missing both your legs." So he said, "So I left the room to kind of walk down and see what was all the commotion." He said, "On the way down the hallway, I bumped into your dad. And I seen your dad looking down at you and I guess in the rooms where they had us with all the other kids. They finally put me back. And he said the only thing he can remember was the biggest smile on my dad's face that day. And once he seen that smile on my dad, he kind of forgot the fact that what he was on the mission for. Then he realized that was the father. He didn't even know that was the father that just had the son missing both of his legs, but still had the biggest smile on his face on that day."
If this had to happen to somebody, that it happened to you with your parents, this was fortune in that sense. Obviously, not fortune in the sense of being born with this congenital issue, but having your father. I wish I could ask him in that moment. I could see you're tearing up as we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the tears? Like,
man,
what are you feeling as you?
Because honestly, like I'm a new dad myself. Like I just had a daughter. I say new. She's 9 months.
Congratulations.
So yeah,
did not
thank
know
God.
that.
I have a 9-month-year-old daughter myself. I kind of take myself back to that moment when she was born. I was just like so nervous and just like so scared, and she's gonna come out healthy. I remember when she came out, she like didn't cry for like 3 seconds.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? I freaked out.
Scary.
4 seconds. I was like, oh, is she okay? Is she okay? And then she actually ended up having jaundice. So they ended up had to take her to the ICU, to the NICU, and had her under lights for 2 days. But, it wasn't nothing too serious. But in those 2 days, just having jaundice under these lights, and we could still go visit her, I was freaking out. So I could only imagine what my parents was going through in that moment. And daily, I thank God for their strength, for their patience, and for their vision. I'm a true believer in manifestation and speaking greatness into your life, into others' lives. Even in that moment of adversity, they spoke greatness into my life, even though it was kind of hard to see. And even though factually speaking, the doctors were just basically writing me off saying, look.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he don't stand a chance.
I'm wondering if you could take me, though, to your dad. Like, what do you imagine? He's looking down at you, smiling.
Yeah.
Imagine he was thinking.
Yeah.
Looking down at you and smiling. Do you have any idea of that?
They told me this. Said, Blake, once we set eyes on you, yes, we was nervous. And yes, we were scared. But once they brought you back into the room and once we was able to really see you again, it hit us. We didn't see the fact that you was missing your legs. Like it was even a factor in that moment. The only thing we seen was the beauty inside of you. So that smile that was on my father's face was probably that smile of relief and saying, wow, I can't even tell. Like he's still my beautiful baby boy son. And I can still be proud of him. And I can still love him. And I can still be a father to him. And that's, a valuable lesson that I've learned that we all can learn is that, yes, through troubling times, and sometimes we hear a lot of news, we get a lot of unloaded to get on a lot of information.
A little bit, yeah.
and we overthink things, right? We overthink it. We overplan. We go down that rabbit hole of negativity and insecurity. And then we build this big monster of what we think is going to be. But once you step into it and once you're there and present in the moment, something comes over you and you can just accept it and embrace it and be strong from it. And you realize like it's not as scary as we thought it was going to be, or it was not as bad as we anticipated it to be. Then you get a moment of relief like, whew, what? It's not that bad. And just a smile of gratitude comes on your face. So I think in that moment, even though having a disabled child being born, he still was in a moment of gratitude. Even though having a son being born without legs, he could still smile through it all. And I take that and I use that and I learned from that, saying that even through your hardest times or your baddest news, probably your lowest point in your life, if you can shift your perception or your perspective, work on it. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to fall in your lap.
No.
Do the work. Find a way to shift that perception and perspective and view the situation into where you can have a moment of gratitude, saying, you know what? It is tough right now, but I can still be a dad in that moment, or I can still be the best human being that I possibly can be in that moment. I can still love for my father. I can still love this baby boy. I can still love Blake as much as I possibly can love. He's still smiling. He's crying like the rest of the babies. He's kicking. He don't have his legs, but he's still kicking like the rest of the babies. He still has his heart pumping. His blood is still flowing. He is alive. So for in that moment, I'm going to be thankful and I'm going to be grateful.
I got to go with your father for a minute. You've mentioned your pops is not necessarily the greatest athlete of all time, and yet he insisted on you playing baseball and all that stuff. And you described wanting to hit a home run, wanting love, wanting to be accepted on the team, circling second base.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Leg falls off. Hit dirt. Like, can you imagine like the crowd going crazy? My teammates are like, Blake's going to, like, I'm about to hit a home run and missing both of my legs. I was probably one of, at the time, because of my prosthetic legs, I was one of the slowest kids on the team. So the ball had to go like really far. So that like,
really
the crowd
far.
Was like, yeah, this is it. This is the moment. Like, the kid on the team was missing both of his legs, going to hit a home run. Moment of glory, ruined, ended by the fact and the reality that I am disabled, that I am missing my legs, and that I am different. And the kid comes over and he tags me out. The inning's over. Even at such a young age, those emotions and feelings still sit with me. I was just feeling disappointed. I felt like a failure. And I remember so vividly, like I was angry. I was just so mad. I was mad at the situation. I was mad at the world. I was mad at life. Now I can remember just like questioning, like, why me? Why does this happen to me? Like, why do I have to go through this? Like, and even at a young age, I was processing it. I was asking these questions to myself, like, okay, well, this is happening to me. So who else is this happening to? And there was nobody I can identify with. They're not missing their legs. My brother, he has his legs. My mom, she's totally fine. I felt all alone.
Oh, man.
I felt singled out, and I was questioning, like, why me? Only thing I wanted to do was hit a home run. Only thing I wanted to do was to please my father and make him proud, to be accepted, to be embraced. Now, I can't even do that. Like, why is this happening to me? And even though as many times I asked myself that question, nothing happened. So, but in that moment, my dad came over, put my leg back on. My teammates came over and dusted dirt off of me, and we got back up. And as I got older, I realized that I asked that question over and over again, and nothing happened, right? Why me? Why is this happening to me? So I decided to flip it. I decided to reverse it. I decided to like take control over it because I knew that road was leading me nowhere. So instead of saying, why me? I started to ask myself, well, why not me? I'm meant for this, right? I started becoming very optimistic. Well, okay, this, like if I'm the only one, I guess I might be the chosen one in the moment. Why not me? Smart enough for this. Or well, if this is going to happen to anybody, it's going to happen to me because I can handle it. Why not me? I'm strong enough for this. And then I go into this portal of saying, okay, if it's supposed to happen to me, then everything's happening for a reason. And if everything's happening for a reason, then I must accept and embrace everything, the adversity, the challenges that I'm facing, even as a child, because it's building me and molding me for this big mission that I don't even know what's coming ahead of me at the time. As a young kid, I didn't know I was going to be in this situation fighting the Olympic Committee, or in this situation, one of the fastest men in the world trying to qualify for the Olympics. And by making that transition, you kind of go from blaming and pointing fingers and trying to fault. It's his fault. It's their fault. It's life's fault. And the reality of it is, it's nobody's fault. Like, it's this life. Like, life beats you up. Like, if you're going to think you're going to go through life, dandelion and roses, then you have a wrong misconception on life. But once you take advantage of it and say, okay, well, why not me? That means the reality of it is it's nobody's fault, but it's your responsibility to figure it out.
Now, how old are you at the time of this?
At this time, I'm like 5 years old.
You're like 5 years old. So I'm wondering, obviously, the philosophical awareness that you're describing right now is not quite online neurologically. And I'm thinking about just the feeling of being alone. Because there weren't, I imagine, a lot of people in your circle who were like you, who were born with no legs. How did you tolerate being alone? Like, what was it like to feel alone at that age?
I felt isolated. I felt like I couldn't relate to nobody. I felt like nobody understood my story, understood who I was or what I go through. And it was some resentment to life of I wouldn't take things serious. I was like, well, you don't understand what I go through. I was mad. I was confused. I was trying to understand and go in. And even though I was at a young age, these are the conversations, because I was alone, because I was dealing with so much adversity, because I was so different. These are the conversations and the questions that I was asking, like, why am I going through this? Like, what is the meaning behind this? Like, why? Like, okay. Then also we're going through the process searching. I would search for more stories. I would search for people like me. I would search to see if there was anybody doing what I was doing that was missing both their legs. I would search for acceptance. I would search for the applauses. I would search for the affirmation. I would fight for that. I would fight for that daily. And to the point where I made it my mantra to where, okay, like I got to make sure that I'm above or beyond, you know what I mean? The average Joe. There was something too that I realized. And as I got, this is about 4, 5, 6, I was like, when going through T-ball, 8, 9, 10, I never forget, at 9 years old, my dad used to coach me for most of my sports. And he would coach me in a sense to protect me. When I say protect me, he could push me. I would thought he was protecting me for a couple reasons. I thought he was protecting me so I would never be, 1, left out. 2, my potential would always be maximized because of the coach wouldn't just like, oh, we got Blake on the team. He's missing his legs. Just go sit on the sideline. Don't bother nobody. I won't bother you. You know what I mean? Everybody wins. You get a jersey. My dad's like, no, my son, he can play. He's special. He can do this. So he would coach me in all my sports to make sure that I was in a position to succeed and make sure that I was never being overlooked and make sure that I was being pushed to the point where I got so good that I started playing travel basketball and travel baseball and AAU and the level of basketball, even at 9 years old. He was like, look, I know basketball, but I don't know this much. Like, you need to be on a team that runs plays and it's a little more organized, that practice multiple times throughout the week. So he found me a team and he knew the coach and he actually grew up with the coach and he talked to the coach and the coach was really good and he knew me, knew my story, knew I could play. But I'll never forget. And this was one of my first practices that I had without my dad being the head coach. And before the practice, we'd drive him over to the gym and he was very serious. I was excited, but I could tell he was very serious. He was worried. Like he's passing the torch off to another man for his disabled son. And he said, look, Blake, people see you different. And I was like, okay, yeah, Dad, I know I'm different. Cool, everybody different. As a little kid, 9 years old, he said, look, there's going to be a moment where the coach might take it easy on you. And I was like, at 9, I really didn't understand it, didn't comprehend it. I was like, okay, maybe because I'm the new guy, or maybe he's the new coach. But he said, if he ever takes it easy on you, or he ever tells you you don't have to do the whole workout or all the runs or whatever it is, say no. I was like, sure, Dad, yeah, I'll say no. He said, no, look at me. He was so serious. And he's a very, funny guy, but he just
generally, but in this moment, he was
serious, but I didn't understand it. I was like, what? He said, finish the whole workout. Never stop and never accept if they tell you that you don't have to finish it. I'm not really comprehending the fact that because I was going to be the only disabled kid on the team, the coach, could potentially feel bad for me. He's not going to push me as much. He said, finish it. I don't care what the coach said. You finish every workout. Lo and behold, practice number 2, we get to the end of the workout. We have to run sprints, back and down, right? We're running them. He blows the whistle. We go. Keep going. I mean, we was running. We get to like the last 2 or 3. And he said, Blake, calls me out in front of everybody. Blake, you're done. You don't have to do no more. You're good. I was coming in last. I was struggling a little bit. And he's like, don't worry about it. You're good. You're good. He was nice about it. Don't worry about it. You're good. But I remember that conversation that my father had with me. And I thank God that it happened so quick. Because my attention span
so early.
Years old wasn't there. So but I remember my dad said, finish every workout. I can remember in the back of my head, he said, finish every workout, Blake. Don't take the easy road out. Don't allow them, finish everything that you started. And I was like, and that was my first moment. I looked at the coach and said, no, coach, I'm good. But it was a light switch for me. Because I walked away from the moment and said, why out of everybody did he want me to stop? That was the question I was asking myself at 9 years old. Why did he want to give me the easy? Did I do something? Did I say something? And then it started clicking for me. Said, oh, it's because I'm missing my legs. And,
totally.
And oh, it's because he feels sorry for me. And oh, okay, most people are going to try to give me the easy way out. And oh, that's why my dad told me to, regardless of what the coach says, finish every rep and every run and don't quit. Oh, okay, I'm starting to. So that was instilled in me at an early age, saying that people are going to feel sorry for you. People are going to try to give you the easy way out, and people are going to give you sympathy and try to pat you on your back when you don't need it and feel bad. But don't accept that. You're just as great. You're just as good as everybody else, but you have to finish every workout. You have to finish every rep. You have to push the limits every single time. And I took in that moment, that message, even at 9 years old, and I applied that today as a grown man trying to qualify for the Olympic Games. That there's been multiple times and many times where I could have easily quit because of my disability. I could have stopped, but I remember that conversation that my dad had with me almost 22 years ago that says, when they give you the easy road out or they want you to quit or stop because they feel bad for you, don't accept it. And you keep pushing through. And
the answer is hell no, I'm doing it. And what I'm tripping on here is that your sense of self versus the perception of you by others was very wide. Like you were like, I'm like anybody else and I can do this. And everybody else was perhaps even well-intentioned, was like, hey man, don't set the bar too high. And I'm wondering, like, when you were kind of coming out and saying, hey, I got my sights set on being fast, I got my sights set on being amazing, you probably had to field a lot of unwanted messages that were perhaps even well-intentioned, like, hey man, don't get your hopes up too high. It's going to be okay if you don't make it. Is that the kind of stuff?
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. You have no. There was a moment, even like a few, like 6, 7, 8 years ago, like 10 years ago. I used to tell people, they'd be like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I run track and field." And then of course they know I wear prosthetic legs. Like,
They can see that.
And they see that. They see I'm missing both my legs. I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I took a silver and a bronze in the Paralympic Games, but actually my goal is to run in the Olympic Games. And they're like, okay. So I have to bring it back and break it down and say, yes, I've competed in the Paralympic Games. And yes, I medaled at the Paralympic Games. But my goal is to run in the Olympic Games against the fastest runners in the world. And even though I'm as serious as I am, not smirking, not smiling, looking at them dead in their face, that I want to run in the Olympic Games and I want to be one of the fastest men in the world. I want to be the fastest man in the world. They're like,
yeah, right.
Sure, buddy. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. This is my dreams. Like, this is my goals. Like, this is what I believe in. And they basically just laugh in my face.
I did the math because I'm a geek like that. I mean, You did the 440 on pace that was under a 3-minute mile. Under a 3-minute mile, 44.42 seconds.
Yeah.
But if you do the math and you realize that's more than 20 miles an hour. And anybody who gets it on the seat of a bicycle will be able to tell you riding 20 miles an hour on flat you're going pretty fast. And that's with you running without legs. And we'll get into the challenges of cornering and building up speed, given in spite of the incredible technology. I mean, this is like a serious execution of wattage from your thighs. But before we even go into that, what are the challenges that you face that an ordinarily able-bodied person might not?
And that's what I try to explain to people. They're saying, oh, you're on the blades and you're going so fast. It must be so easy. I understand why you run so fast. And I'm like, okay, right. Well, if it was that easy, then you cut off your leg and let's see how fast you would go. And you let me know how that process goes. Like,
let's see how that works out for you, man.
Let's see how that works out. But people have no idea. But as an amputee that trains every day, and me and a handful of other top level amputee sprinters have to deal with this. We're talking about bone bruises. We're talking about infections inside the leg. We're talking about socket chafing. We're talking about sometimes the socket from the leg disconnects and just pops off and you fall down. There's been mornings where I'd wake up and I've had a hard, long training session the day before and my legs are just swollen. They're just swollen, lack of blood going down to my stumps. I've just been beating up my stumps over and over again to where there's mornings where I could barely even, my first step of the day is pain, where my leg is infected and it swells up. And I just have to keep walking on it until it just pops. And this can happen randomly twice a month, 3 times a month. Because I am an amputee, I'm training at the high levels almost daily. So I'm putting extreme, usage of my legs that a normal amputee wouldn't. But because I'm training for the Olympic Games, I have to train just like able-bodied runners. So I have to run like them. I have to lift like them. I'm in the gym. I'm on the track back to the gym to see my chiropractor. All these things that go on for me as an amputee that I have to battle and I have to overcome. And honestly, I found it so rude, disrespectful, personally, just ignorant when people look at my situation and say, that's easy. That's so easy. Like, I could do that. Almost in a sense, they don't say I could do that, but they brush it off like, oh, he's on the blades. It's just a handful of things that as an amputee that I have to go through just to get to the tracks. And that I went through to run that time, the 44.2. Like, it was so much that went into that moment for me to run that time and to run that competitively. And for the committee to come back and say, well, you have an unfair advantage. That's why you're running so fast. So you can't run until you prove it to us. I just felt insulted. I just felt like I put a lot of work in, it just didn't come overnight. I just didn't show up, put on some blades and run 44 seconds. Like, it took me years and years of training, of just going through pain, enduring hardship, sacrifice, and to get to the end of the road. And they say, well, we didn't expect you to be this fast. So, and because you are this fast, we agree that you have an unfair advantage. It's just like, it's crazy. We go through so much just to even get to the track.
Blake, as I hear you say this, I feel enraged. And I'm thinking about all of the adversity that you face, whether it's infections, back pain, just dealing with everything that you've dealt with on top of having your average folks saying, oh, wow, I could probably do that. But worse still is the authorities disqualifying you. How do you process that? And how do you stay focused and motivated to keep going in the face of all of this adversity? This is a lot.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough though to train. I've been running and competing for almost 10 years now, but these past 6 years, I really locked it in and focused. 5 to 6 years, I've been all in. Like I've been all in, dedicated my life, dedicated my career. I sacrificed even my family. I put them in situations. They've had to take the back seat at times because dad and the boyfriend, fiance now is training on Christmas Day, training on holidays, like all these things, like missing events, like instead of going home for Thanksgiving and all these get-togethers, family reunions. Like, no, I'm training. I'm trying to be the fastest man in the world. There is no days off. Like going through that process, then to get to the end of the road and for them to say, nope, sorry, you can't run. You're not allowed into this event. You're not allowed into this party because you're different, because you don't belong here, because there's something for you. And this is not it. We know you on paper, you qualify, even through your hard work and efforts, it lines up. I've even had other Olympians vouch for me to say, look, Blake trains just as hard as we do. Like he deserves to be here. He puts the work in. It's not enough. It's their view on my life and their expectations of me being a disabled man. They're saying, look, because you're disabled, you shouldn't be this fast. Because you're disabled, missing both your legs, you should be down there. You should be over there. We wanted you around just so we could pat you on the back and to make it look good. And so you would feel accepted and we feel like we're doing the right thing. So everybody feels good. But the second you become a threat or too good, then that's a problem in our eyes. Now, when I got the decision saying, hey, Blake, you cannot run, you cannot go to world championships, even though you won a spot rightfully, that next day, this is important, that next day, when you get adversity, when you get bad news, when you get that no, that next day, you have to wake up and you have to show up. And for me, the most important workout of the season. For whoever's facing that, that's the most important move for you. You got to wake up with fire. You got to wake up with intensity. You got to wake up saying, I don't care what the news that you gave me. I'm still going to show up and still give it my all. I don't care what you say. You might tell me no, but my story and my mission, my destiny is bigger than your no. So I'm going to show up. And I showed up. I put my blades on. I went to the track. And as hard as it was, man, I had one of the best workouts in my life, because that's a message not only to your adversity, but it's a message to life. To look, I'm not going to be defined by their small-mindedness.
Wow. So Blake, take us through a workout. What is a typical workout like?
Yeah, typical workout. One of my favorites, I call them bounce twos. I do a warm-up. I get there to the track, me with my teammates, and we do about a warm-up where we run 4 laps, walk the curve, run the straight. Then we come back, stretch a little bit more. So we do a mile for that. Then we do our drills. After our drills, we kind of jump into the workout. And then the workout, like my favorite workout would be 8 200s. So 200 is one lap. 8 200, a half a lap around the track. So they're called bounce twos. So you run a 200 about, we usually start right now, part of the season. I'm starting my first 200, 26, 25 seconds. And so run about 26, 25 seconds. And once I get to the line, our coach makes jog back to the line. So you have to bounce it back. That's what they call bounce twos. So you run the 2 and you bounce your recovery. So in your recovery, you're supposed to kind of catch your breath. And normally you walk back, hands over your head, trying to take your break. You get 3 to 4, 5 minutes for full recovery. On this specific workout, you get less than 2 minutes. And you jog back to the line. So it's something about having to jog to keep moving back to the line that does something.
And by the way, I just have to ask, do you have a sense of like what your heart rate is at the end of that first 2?
I have no idea.
I would want to know. I imagine it's high.
I don't want to look at it.
All right, keep going.
And you just bounce back to the line and you do another one. And you cross the line bounce back to the line, and you do another one and another one until you get to 8. And after number 5, you're like, this is the worst pain I ever felt. After 4, you start feeling it. After 5, you want to quit. And when I get done, I barely have enough just to crawl to the side to take my legs off. I just pop my legs off. I just lay there and I'm in pain. My side hurts, my legs, my glutes are just flat out numb or just sore. I'm in this pain threshold for about 2 to 3 minutes where I can't even speak. I can't even talk. As much as pain as it is, once I come back to and I can actually get back up and walk again, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Like pushing your body and pushing your mind and conquering the moment where you wanted to quit, and rightfully so, you could have quit, but you overcame it, is one of the greatest feelings in the world. And that's why I tell people, like, the medals are cool. Being on TV is awesome. Like doing the commercials, like all those stuff is great.
Being on the Wheaties box.
I wanted the Nike's latest commercial just dropped, and I was in there swinging a baseball, missing the baseball. Like that was cool. Like that was awesome. People was like, "Oh, I seen you." But that feeling that I get after a workout like that, nobody's even there. It's me, my coach, my teammates. The stands are empty. Nobody's really watching me. Nobody's recording it. Nobody's going to know about it, but I do. And I know how I feel from it. That right there is the greatest feeling in the world. Those moments where I push myself, they can't take that back. They can tell me no. They can tell me I don't belong. They can come up with hoops and loops and jumps and hurdles to keep me out. But one thing they cannot take from me is me going to the track and pushing myself and bettering myself.
As I hear you just kind of laying out this workout, and you're describing the fuel that sparks your fire. And I find myself thinking about when we breathe in, we activate the sympathetic nervous system. We breathe out, we activate the parasympathetic. And I know you know that, but it's interesting. It seems that you have a similar process through which you have 2 versions of fuel. One fuel is, you don't think I can do this? Watch me. The other one is positivity and gratitude. And I'm wondering if you could share with me, like in the positivity and gratitude sphere, like who have been your role models? What books, what conversations, what mentors in your hero's journey?
Yeah.
There have been people like your dad who at 9 years old told you what he told you. Don't let them treat you any differently. And I'm sure that along the way, there have been people either directly or indirectly who've influenced you big. And I think about, of course, LeBron James. He's like the first one at the court and the last one to leave.
Yep.
And nobody knows this except for people who like know this about him.
Exactly.
Like, and then they watch him. They're like, oh, well, of course, because he's LeBron. It's like, actually, it's also because he works really hard. And you're like that. So tell me, like, what are the thoughts? Who are the mentors? Like, how does the positive fuel work?
A few people that come to mind, you talk about LeBron, I think about Kobe too as well. Like that Mamba mentality. And I hate that he's gone from this, but we never really got to appreciate. And we was really just now getting on to the whole Mamba man. We was appreciating his game. We appreciated his jump shot. We appreciated his fadeaway. But what we started to appreciate towards the end was his mindset and how, like you said, first one in the gym and last one out the gym. It kind of made sense because I just kind of captured this within the last, like my first couple years in track and field and started running professionally. I took it for granted. I was like, I'm fast, man. You know what I mean? I was born for this. What do you mean? Like, I kind of got a little too cocky. It was like, look, I was born without legs. I've been training for this my whole life. So I ain't got to really do what I need to do. And then I started studying people like Kobe and what makes them so great. And I realized, like, even though that you are great, you still have to put the work in. And he used to talk about how he used to be the first one in the gym and the last one out. And I started doing some studying and some research, and I processed it, and I realized by putting in that much work into it, like Kobe's the first one in the gym, he was the last one at the gym. So when he got to the game, he had more time invested for that moment. And one of my coaches, he explained it to me a couple of years ago. He said, if you didn't care for something, if you didn't put the work in it, if you didn't study for it, if you didn't prepare for it, if you don't sacrifice for it, then it has no value to you. So when you get to a competition or an event or a presentation, whatever, it won't spark inside of you because you didn't put time into it. But flip it, reverse it. Imagine you sacrifice your life for it, day in and day out, like that, like first one in, last one out. put blood, sweat, and tears. Like you fight for it, you grind for it. When you get to that moment, when you get to that mission, your heart's going to be pumping. Your blood's going to be flowing full of energy saying, look, this is important. We need this. You know how much time we put into this? And that was the moments and the energy that Kobe was putting himself in that situation. That's why he was able to drop 81 points. That's why he was able to win championships. Because the time and effort when he got to the game, he has that conversation with himself and saying, look, we was the first one in the gym. So just like going through that process and learning from greats like that. I also, for me, I looked up to Bo Jackson.
Oh, the best. The best.
But for me, being a disabled kid, remember we was talking about at the beginning where I used to search. I used to search for somebody like me or somebody that looked like me or that was kind of similar to me. I found Bo Jackson. Even though he had a prosthetic hip and I had prosthetic legs, I just heard the word prosthetic. And I seen the level that he was on. I was like, boom, that's it. If Bo can do it, then I can do it. Man, I had all kinds of Bo Jackson posters. I even had his tape on VHS that talked about, it was like an 1.5-hour documentary about his comeback. And I used to watch that at least once a week. And my favorite part was when he got injured and they showed his prosthetic and they would show the doctors doing his whole hip replacement. And they would show the prosthetic as he was working out and how he was moving. And I was like, oh, that's like me. That's like me. So by Bo not giving up and not quitting, and I'm sure he faced a lot of adversity and challenges. People like, Bo, just stop, man. You'll never get back to the person that you are. And he kept pushing through. And I never forget, he came back when he hit that home run, his first home run off his injury. Like, it gives me chills. Like, it gave me chills every time I watched it. That gave me hope. That seriously gave me so much hope as a kid and as a young adult, saying that, okay, if Bo can do it, maybe I can too. So knowing how much hope that gave me at that time, that gives me inspiration now to get on the world stage, to be one of the fastest men in the world, to run at the Olympic Games. Because there's a young child out there that feels less than, that's being discriminated against, and they feel like there's no point, or they feel like they'll never be able to reach their true potential. And if they can see my story and see that I was born similar to them or born less than, born with a congenital birth defect, they're going to see me competing. They're going to see me fighting for an Olympic medal. They're going to see that I'm different, but I'm still out there fighting. And that can give hope to the next generation or to the next child. My life is just going to be an example on how or what to do if you're in this situation. This is not the end all be all story. I'm just going to be a parable, an example.
As I hear you talk, I get chills, and I really get it that you're not just doing this for your ego and just for your personal story. You're doing this to offer a seat at the table to people who feel marginalized.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about.
If I was doing it for me, honestly, that's why I tell people, like, and I ask constantly, you know what I mean? One of the things I think is extremely important, like, what is your why? Like, why are you doing it? Like, why are you waking up every day? Like, why? Like, is it to make money, to have nice cars, to have a big house, to be on TV, to be famous? And all these things sound cool and great. Is it to pump your ego up, to make you look good, to boost your IMDb? Like, all these things, like, why are you doing it? And that's not enough. It'll never be enough. And I realized that if I was doing it for me, because all those things are gains for me. It's to make Blake look good. It's to boost Blake's ego up. The reality of it is, if that's your why, unfortunately, they can take that away from you at any moment. And the second they take that away from you and you don't have that no more, you're out the game. You're done. You're like, well, there's no point. If I can't make all these things that why I thought I was doing it for, then what's the point? So I encourage people to make your why so big, you have to work every single day for it.
You know, I totally agree with that. They could always take it away from you if it's just about you. But if it's about a bigger cause, they can never take it away. I got to ask you this question because you have insight firsthand into what it's like to be a part of the disabled community. And most able-bodied people, who are the majority, have no idea what that feels like. And one of the things that you mentioned is just feeling alone. One of the things that you and I both know is feeling alone is lethal. It's really bad for our psychological health. Another thing is that we want to be loved and that we want to not feel shame, but rather to feel a sense of pride in who we are and a sense of belonging. So can you just describe to me I don't mean to set you up with those three ideas, but what are some things about being disabled that you wish the able-bodied community could know about from walking a mile in your shoes?
The one thing I tell people this is like, my biggest disability is not the fact that I'm missing my legs. Like that is a disability. And that's something that I am missing. But my biggest disability is what people assume what I can do because I'm missing my legs. It's what people project onto me. It's what people project on the other people with disabilities. That awkwardness, like, oh, you're missing your legs. So I can only imagine how hard your life must be. What? I never even told you that. I never even said my life was hard. But you're projecting that. And because you're projecting that, now I'm starting to think about like, oh, my life is hard. And I did face a hard time. You know what I mean? But that's not where I'm at right now.
For sure.
So when you see another disabled person, you feel like, oh, I want to help them. I want to save them. And the reality of it is that somebody that's disabled, yes, they face hard times and hardships, but the reality of it is they need to be pushed. They need to be pushed to their truest potential. When you push somebody to their truest potential, if you truly love somebody and if you truly care about somebody, you want to see them at their best. Not what makes you feel comfortable, but at their best.
Just wild when I hear you describe all this. I love this so much. The first piece that you say is don't limit them based upon your assumptions. But it sounds like if you want to coach them or teach them, if you have that kind of relationship with them, in addition to not limiting them based upon our assumptions, you got to see the person. Well, of course, you got to do that either way. And then get to know them and their goals. Get to know them and their goals and get them engaged and hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Is what I hear you saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that feel on point? Is that
yes,
complete?
That's exactly on point. I love my coaches that push me. You know what I mean? And said, look, Blake, let's forget the fact that you're missing legs. You could be the fastest man in the world. And I'm like, whoa, if my coach can see that in me, then I need to start seeing that in myself. And just like that, we're not thinking about the disability, but we're thinking about the ability. And that's something that my mother used to tell me over and over again as a child. She said, Blake, you have two disabilities. We got two. You're missing your left leg, you're missing your right leg. There's nothing you can do about it. But you have 1,000 other abilities that make you a special person.
Oh, man.
You have 1,000 other abilities that allow you to wake up each and every day to be the best human being, put a smile on your face, to show up to school, to go to class, to push, to work. And so just like that, instead of worrying about what I'm missing, I'm focusing and thinking about what I do have. And it's almost like that 90-10 rule. Life is 10% of what you're dealt with and 90% on how you deal with it. So the 10% is my disabilities, but my 90 is all my abilities.
What's interesting is, that there is a really important pie chart that comes out of the University of California at Riverside from Sonia Lubomirsky about that 10% is your situations and 40% is your, effort and 50% is your genetic set point. But yeah, it's very similar to that 90-10 idea. Man, I cannot believe your parents. I love your parents, first of all. Before we go, I got to ask you, man, first of all, I'm signed up. I want to see you get what you want. And so if the next 4 years go totally according to plan, how do they play out for you, man?
Yeah. So if the next 4 years go totally planned, I will not only go to the Olympic Games, but I will compete at the highest levels, continuous at World Championship and the more Olympics from Tokyo to Paris. I will win Olympic medals and break world records and go out there and inspire the world. But here's the thing. If it doesn't go as I plan, if it doesn't go as I plan, this is what that thought, Blake thought that can make the biggest impact into the world. I still have to wake up each and every day and say, okay, my goal is to make the biggest impact in the world. So I got to seek and search, other avenues and other ways where I could, just because they won't let me run in one event. This is what I try to tell people. My story is bigger than just one event, one race. And the Olympics is huge. Like, the Olympics is huge. The whole world watches the Olympic Games, one of the biggest events in the world, one of the most huge events and track and field races that's ever watched globally. But my story is bigger than one event. So it's going to be a daily process. And that's why I tell people, your story is bigger than one mistake or one situation or one failure. So I still have to show up each and every day continuously these next 4 to 5, 6, 10, 12, 20 years, giving this love, giving off this inspiration, like showing up and keep fighting, because you never know who I'm going to impact or who I'm going to inspire, who I'm going to motivate. Regardless of if I end up in the Olympics or not, my journey and my story still stays the same. I was born without legs. The doctors told me I would never walk, and I'm the fastest man in the world. And look at all the amazing things that I can do because of my disability. And man, if I can do this, imagine what you can do with your life. That's still going to continue. I'm still going to keep fighting. I'm still going to keep pushing through, whether it's on the track or off the track. And I've come to terms with that. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to run in the Olympic Games. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But if I don't, then I still got to keep fighting, and I still got to keep pushing, and I still got to keep seeking where I can implement myself, and my story is the example. So where I can keep implementing my life and my story at certain places so we can inspire the next generation or the next human being, or motivate or love our neighbor. Like, that's what life is all about. Like, and that's what my journey and my process has been.
I totally agree, Blake. Well, my goodness, Blake, I cannot thank you enough for sharing your wisdom, your unbelievable, untapped energy. Like, you are just getting started. What the listener cannot see is, man, you got one of the most beautiful smiles I've ever been in the presence of. You've got just the best energy ever. I can feel it. I just can't thank you enough, bro. This has been amazing.
I enjoyed every moment. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share my story. And I hope people who are listening that just, if they take anything from it, I would just tell them no excuses. And your adversity is your advantage. That's what I stick by. So whatever challenges you're facing today, I would say embrace it. Whatever obstacles you're going to face tomorrow, I said accept it, because that is your strength. Like your struggle is your strength. And once you can accept that and channel that, that's when I feel like we can be powerful beings in this world.
Could not agree more. Well, Blake, thank you so much. This is Dr. Adam Dorsey thanking you for listening to Super Psyched. If you know anyone who might like it or who might benefit from listening, share it. And if you like the episode, please hit subscribe.